4, 3, 2, 1, go.
www.thepowerofvoices.com. It's the Jesse T Show, live at 5, right here on thepowerofvoices.com. We are straight on the point. On a Thursday in Southern California, a beautiful day, hot in some places, not so hot in others. Kind of crazy weather happening. Just a few days ago it was 115, 110, 105 degrees, and yesterday it was 75 to 85 degrees, depending on what part of California you are in, the southern side, that is. But today, it's kind of mixed too as well. It's hot out in the deserts and not as hot in the valleys. And as you get closer to the ocean, it gets cool. The other day, though, even the ocean was running around 90 degrees, so it was really hot then. From the community to the world, good to have you along. It's Jesse Guerrero. The Brown Beauty is on duty. And yes, you can check us out at www.thepowerofvoices.com. And you can go to our Facebook Live site on YouTube Live, YouTube Live via thepowerofvoices.com. Go check them out right there. We're live, and that's posted up on the Power of Voices on YouTube. After the show as well, but we're broadcasting live right there. Also, you've got us right here at ATV, Live Digital Broadcasting Network, and that's our station here, and that we've been broadcasting on for a couple of years, so it's good to have you there. And of course, that's on the Facebook Live platform, and we enjoy having you chime in and check in. Yes, I'm Hollywood today. I've gone Hollywood, Hollywood. There was a great song by Kool and the Gang called Hollywood's Gone Swingin'. That was one of my favorite songs. And Get Down on It, Get Down on It. That was a great Kool and the Gang song too. They had so many great songs, but Hollywood's Gone Swingin'. The reason why, because I've got the Hollywood style big glasses on. That's right, the big yellow glasses that you can only get away with wearing in Hollywood. Now, if you wore those out in North Dakota or Oklahoma or Mississippi or Ohio or Iowa, you'd probably get stoned. I swear to God, you get stoned. But not in LA. You can wear whatever you want. So I got the big glasses, but the problem is I can't see. So I'm going to take one of them off. I got the CHP sunglasses on right now. That's right. I'm wearing like triple threat sets of sunglasses. So I'm gonna take these off right now, and take these. Yes, I got the regular glasses so I can see. Now you ask me, why do I wear 3 sets of glasses? I don't have a friggin' idea. I just thought it was kind of looking kind of silly. Actually, I'm trying to get used to wearing those big yellow glasses. I'm trying to like break out of my conservative mode. My Republican conservative mode. But I'm really not Republican conservative, but yet I am. But I'm also very liberal on some things. I think I'm just like a typical American. A typical American, I don't think, slants too much to the Republican side and slants too much to the Democratic side. Certainly doesn't slant to the Libertarian side. Those knuckleheads last night, I don't know if you got a chance to catch a little bit of that Libertarian, I don't know what to call it. It wasn't really a debate. It wasn't a press conference. It was sort of, let's put 2 old guys on stage that are white and got like old white frizzly hair. And I think they were governors. And we'll put about 80 people in the audience, and then we'll ask them questions to see if they can answer them. And it was crazy. They asked a question about marijuana. This woman. Now I know why. I figured out why the libertarians never win anything beyond, their nose. If you're a libertarian, what can I tell you? Your candidates suck. They do. They're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. It's unbelievable. And I'm not afraid to say it because I'm straight on the point. They're just horrible. I wouldn't vote for those guys if I was drunk. Well, the Supreme Court did have something to say about being drunk, though. We'll talk about that a little bit. But here's the point. This woman, she lost her child in a horrible automobile accident by somebody who was on drugs. And she's adamantly against the legalization of marijuana, rightfully so. I mean, absolutely. That's the stance she should be taking. I would. Absolutely. And she asked a very difficult question. But it really wasn't too difficult if those libertarians would at least practiced a couple of days and had someone ask them some questions. The question was basically, are you for drugs, the legalization of drugs, or are you not? And of course, the libertarian guy, the president and his vice president candidate, the libertarian guy hemmed and hawed and hemmed and hawed, and he went round and round and round and round and round. It was unbelievable that he could not answer the question. He just couldn't answer the question. It was like he answered everything else in the world but the question. I swear to God, I think he was talking about elephants running wild in Africa. And then he switched over to the great white sharks off the coral reefs of Australia. And then he started talking about the mechanics of a diesel engine. Then he started talking about how good a Coca-Cola tastes. I mean, the guy, he talked about everything except for the issue and the question that was asked. So finally, the host or the questioner or the interviewer or the reporter finally kind of said, "That's it. Look, are you for legalization or not?" He still couldn't answer the question. He said, "Well, I'm for the legalization of marijuana, but I'm not for the legalization of heroin and all those other drugs like mollies and all those other illegal drugs," right? But he really had no conviction behind his answer. And so now I understand why the Libertarian Party is always just a Libertarian Party. Anyhow, so, I think most Americans kind of run right down the middle of everything. On this issue, they might be very, very conservative. On this issue, they might be very, very liberal. On this issue, they're kind of right down the middle. And I think that's where most Americans lie. You have the crazy right-wingers, and you have the crazy left-wingers, and, they're off in their own la-la-la world, doing what they're doing, saying what they're saying, and thinking what they're thinking. But I think everybody kind of comes to the center in their own personal life, because you can't be so rigid in one format. You really have to be flexible in today's life. So it's really difficult. So I was watching that debate, and I got to thinking to myself, my, how important it is to understand our electoral, our delegate, and our election process. And how important it is to understand how we vote for a president and how a president becomes a president. How important it is to understand basic civics, and I'm always talking about that, this idea of civics and how important. And right smack in the middle of the face, we wake up in the morning and we find out the Supreme Court has made all kinds of decisions. Now, mind you, there's one seat open on the Supreme Court, but that doesn't mean the Supreme Court stops doing business on an everyday, fact of life. They continue on to roll down the highway, whether they have, a full bench or they're short one or two people. So the Supreme Court made a lot of decisions today, and one of the most, I guess, one of the most compelling ones to folks out there, especially here in the states where they're heavily dominated by a Latino or Hispanic population. President Obama was seeking, of course, some rules and new set downs on immigration. Well, the Supreme Court completely went the other direction in terms of what President Obama wanted. Now, the Supreme Court said today that the decision to block the Obama plan to defer the deportation of millions of undocumented immigrants was frustrating and indicative of the court's inability to function the way it is supposed to. Now, that's what President Obama said. But whether or not the court is functioning the way it's supposed to or not, it's functioning properly. The court will function even when there's one less person on the bench. And they will come to a decision. And in many cases, when that happens, it's a deadlock decision, which effectively blocks whatever they were arguing about. So it effectively blocked what Obama wanted on this immigration. And so, in that respect, the court basically tosses it back down to the appellate court, and that rule stays until it comes back up to the court. So it's going to go back to the lower court in Texas, where it initially was inactivated, and where Obama halted some things that were going on in Texas in terms of dealing with the status of undocumented immigrants who have children who are American citizens or have green cards. Now it's interesting because basically what they talked about is they said, look, if you're undocumented, you're undocumented. It's just that simple. You don't get to have all the rights. You don't get to have all of the privileges that a legal immigrant has. And because they were deadlocked, whatever the law is today and what it stands, stays. So the Supreme Court can really change the dynamic of how this country goes. The Supreme Court, really by the rules and the laws that they set down, what they do is they set the tone for all of the lower courts to rule on when cases come to their benches. So the Supreme Court is the most important part, or one of the most important things that a president does, and that is appoint a new judge. Of course, it has to be ratified by Congress, but it comes from the president, and that's not going to happen in terms of President Obama's remaining few months. That's going to be turned over to the next president. So when you're out there voting, think about what direction you'd like the Supreme Court to go in. Now, I tend to think that the Supreme Court should be very conservative. I've always thought that, because the liberal agenda can get just way too liberal. And it seems to be historically that the conservative agenda doesn't get way too conservative in terms of that. So I like to see the Supreme Court be a little more conservative. Now, not overly conservative. I really truly like to see the Supreme Court kind of go right down the middle and look at every case independently. Because I think that's what Americans really are all about. I think Americans are more down the middle and have more of a sensibility about that than how we're characterized in the media. So the president also criticized Congress for failing to push it through in that respect. So they're still going back and forth about that issue. Another issue that came down, which I thought was really important, is that because of that issue that the Supreme Court tied on, it changes how California's health coverage efforts are going to be determined. Because in California, what many were trying to do is provide unauthorized immigrants in California to be state funded through health insurance, especially for the low income health plans that are available in that respect. And so that's sort of, it kind of put a stay on that, because it's gonna put a quagmire in California being able to offer undocumented aliens or undocumented immigrants health insurance. Now, some say, what, that's good or bad. We can't afford everybody. I'm sorry. Go out of the country and come back a legal immigrant, and you can have all the rights and all the wonderments and all the great things this nation has to offer. Sorry, you knew you were coming here illegally. You knew it. You knew it when you crossed that border, from whatever border you came from. If you didn't have your papers correctly, you came across that border knowing that you're going to reap the rewards of this great country. But at the same time, you have to suffer the consequences of your choices as an adult. It's just that simple. And if it's not something that's conducive to you being happy and having a quality of life, then go back to where you came from. And the Supreme Court today basically said the rule stands. Nothing is going to change at this moment. So, that changes our California health law, because what happens there is a lot of Californians would have got subsidized through health care and would have gotten health care, where we should really be thinking about the Californians who need health care, who are legal citizens of this great state and this country. So, in that respect, that's one ramification that the Supreme Court's rule today, how it affects the states at the state level. The Supreme Court also talked about drunk driving, and I came across a piece on that about the drunk driving issue, because and if I correct me if I get this right, and I hope I do, because I just briefly looked at it. So I'm going to go back here to Yahoo, because that's kind of where it came from. It came from Yahoo, and what the Supreme Court did today about drunk driving. Let me see. And I thought that was really interesting about drunk driving and the Supreme Court today. They rule on a lot of things. It'll be interesting to see when California becomes a MJ state. There's initiatives on the ballot for October, November here in California. If you're around the rest of the country listening at www.thepowervoices.com, there's initiative on California to take California to a recreational MJ state, marijuana use state like Colorado, to take it to recreational. And I believe there's about 5 or 6 or 7 states, 5 states that are recreational use, and there's a whole bunch, well over 30 states now, that are medical use with a doctor's prescription. But it'll be interesting to see how some of these laws, when they go up the channels of the courts to the appellate courts to the Supreme Court, on how the Supreme Court is going to rule on marijuana issues. That'll be very, very interesting to see. I probably think that we're going to see some cases go that way in the next 5 years, that's for sure. But the Supreme Court on Thursday today issued a split ruling on a trio of drunk driving cases. So this kind of affects everybody in the United States of America, because everybody tastes the alcohol at some point in their adult life. Now, I don't drink. I haven't drank for almost 30 years now, maybe 25 years. So it's been a long, long time. I just never got an affinity and liked the taste of alcohol. Not an alcoholic or anything. I just never liked the taste of it. It's just something that it wasn't refreshing to me. But what we have going on right now with the Supreme Court ruling today on 3 different cases, deciding that while law enforcement may require a breathalyzer for suspected drunk drivers without a warrant after an arrest, a warrant is required for a blood test in the same circumstances. Now that's a big thing, because when you got pulled over by a police officer and you did the test, they take you out of your car and you do that walk around test, walk in a straight line, touch your nose, or whatever the sobriety test is. You do that test and they check your pupil dilation, they check your eyes, they smell your breath, and they have the right to ask you to blow into one of those breathalyzers. Well, prior today, they had a right that if you decided you did not want to do the breathalyzer, they could go down and pull blood or drop blood from you at the hospital. And the Supreme Court said today that they can't take your blood out of your body without a warrant. Now that's a big thing, because they can't go to the next step. So we're going to see how that changes drunk driving cases around the United States of America. The consolidated cases refer to a case which was called Birchfield versus North Dakota, and it came in 3 separate drunk driving arrests where the men arrested were prosecuted and or threatened with prosecution for refusing a blood or breath test. So in a 5-3 decision today, the court ruled that while officers can require a warrantless breath test, so you have no choice, you got to blow it, right? And the states can require drivers arrested for being intoxicated to submit to one, all right? That blood tests are too invasive and require a warrant. And, you know, I got to agree with that because, look, they just can't stick a needle in you and take some blood out. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's just, that might not be the conservative platform. That might be more the liberal platform. But I'm sorry. They just can't stick a needle in you and take your blood out. Your blood is yours. Your blood is as private to you as any other private issues in your life. They can't just come into your house without a warrant. They can't do a lot of these things without a warrant. And you know, this is why I like to go over civics, and we're going to go over another amendment here today of the United States Constitution because it's so important to know your rights as a citizen of America, a legal citizen, whether you come here the legal way or you were born here. If you are an illegal person in this country, I'm sorry, you don't have any rights, as far as I'm concerned. That's how I feel. You don't have any rights. Hey, let me just go to your country, Mexico. Let me go to your country, Russia. Let me go to your country, China. Let me go to your country, India, Malaysia, Japan, Hong Kong. Well, that's China now. Let me go to England, France, and Germany. Let me go to Sweden. Let me go to Libya, Egypt, Jordan. Let me go to Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Let me go to Vietnam, South Korea. Let me go to Australia, New Zealand. Let me go to Somalia. Let me go to South Africa. Let me go to the Ivory Coast, Algeria. Let me go anywhere in the world and just walk across their border and demand everything that people demand of us that walk across our border. My argument is real simple on immigration and illegal immigration. You know, I'm sorry, there is absolutely no sympathy for me or compassion for me for illegal immigration. I'm sorry. We have to have a sovereign state, a sovereign nation. We have a right to our borders, and we have a right to protect our borders. And that's just the way it is. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what sex you are. I don't care where you're from, what language you speak. It makes no difference to me. We were all immigrants that came to this country, and 99% of us came to this country legally. We either came through in the last great immigration or migration of people, we came through Ellis Island, or we came through the island in the San Francisco Bay. That's how we got here. Many did walk across the border at one time, but not as many that have been doing this since the end of World War II. And coming up through the Canadian border too, and down through Washington State. So it's just not the southern border, it's the northern border as well. So, you know, if you're a legal citizen and you're a citizen of the United States of America, hey, then you have a right to all these great benefits that we live by. So I thought the drunk driving thing was really interesting. That really is an invasive thing when they go to take your blood. Sorry, you can't take the blood. Simple. That's really simple. All right? Everybody in this country is an immigrant, unless your name is Tonto. All right? Or Running Wild, or Spring Lifetime, or Giant Bearman, or Eagle Claw, or you know, Wolverine Up Oak Tree, or Blowing Daffodils. Whatever your indigenous name was, you're the only indigenous native people to this country. And, you know, you guys are Americans. And that leads me to the next thing. Because what we have here, we have something really interesting, and that is I got in a big argument and conversation the other day with this girl about the American population and what it makes up now. And she just was yapping away, and I told her, I said, you know, excuse me, ma'am, you have no clue. You have no clue. Did you read the last census? Did you even look into the last census? Because you have no clue what you're talking about. And she was saying, you know, that all of a sudden America has become more Latino and more Hispanic, and they're taking over our country, and they're taking over our language, and they're taking this and taking that over. And I looked at her and I said, what are you, nuts? And then her husband got mad at me. What can I tell you? Yes, Jesse T. All I can do is help being me, Jesse T. The Brown Beauty on Duty at www.thepowerofvoices.com. Yes, I looked at her and I said, what are you, nuts? And her husband said, Would you call my wife nuts? I said, well, she's nuts because she has no idea what she's talking about. And he said, you got all huffity puffy. I said, whoa, 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 camper. Don't get so huffity puffy with me, okay? I didn't mean it with any disrespect, and I'm sorry if I did disrespect your lady. It wasn't meant that way, but it was meant that way in an exaggeration of expression. That's all it was meant. I mean, I didn't want to go rolling over the McDonald's table with the guy and have the shake mess my jacket up. That's all I need is have a chocolate shake mess my jacket up. I mean, I don't care about going over the table with the guy if that's what he wants to do, but I just don't want my shake all over my jacket. You know what I mean? I'd have to get my jacket cleaned. So, I apologized and all that stuff, and I said, well, let me break it down for you. I said, who do you think the largest group, the fastest growing group of Americans are today? Who do you think it is? And they said, well, of course, the people that are coming across the border from Mexico. Gah! You lost. Go sit down. I'll ask it again. Who do you think is the largest group of people coming to America? Well, the people from Central America. Ah! You lost. Go sit down. So I asked it again. So really, now, it's not the Mexican folks. And it's not the Central American folks. So who do you think is the largest growing people or immigrants coming to America today legally? And they said, well, Armenians. Go sit down. All right? It is people of Asian persuasion. Hey, that's the makings of a good song. Crystal blue persuasion. Ah-ha. Got that Asian persuasion. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yes, I know, I'm not a songwriter, but I sure give it a college try. I do. That's what I do. I do. That's okay. Sorry, I think I got probably ADD or something, or ABCD, or MNP, or OPQ, or STXV. I got XTSV. That sounds pretty good. Okay, so I said it's Asians between the year 2014 and 2015. Now I'm spotting this stuff off the top of my head, right? I'm just weird like that. I just do too much reading, and I'm just weird that way. I'm weird that way. I either know how to make your cocktail party or break your cocktail party, because I can I do either pretty good. All right. Okay, so Asian folks coming from all the Asian Pacific Rim, all the Asian countries. The Asian folks make up 3.4% in growth factor here between the year 2014 and 2015. Yeah, 3.4%. There are 21 million new Asian Americans who are Asians. And you know something? I hope that we all just stop this bi stuff. This Asian American, African American, Mexican American, golden retriever American, giraffe American. I mean, what is this? What did that stuff? That stuff drives me insane. That stuff just, that stuff, that's it. That puts a damper on the conversation. When someone says, well, I'm a Polish American. What? A Polish American? What? Yeah, I'm an Italian American. Well, what do you mean you're Italian? Yeah, I'm an African American. What? Do you speak Swahili? Do you speak Polish? Do you speak Italian? Do you speak Spanish? Yeah, we do. Okay. Do you live half the time in that country? Do you make your living in that country? Do you use the health services in that country? Do you raise your kids in that country? Do you buy your clothes in that country? Do you travel back and forth? No. Then what are you? You're an American. For God's sakes, people. Stop with this political correct PC biracial crap. Because that's what it is. Really. You're just an American. My goodness, you're just an American. That's all you are, just like me. I'm an American. I'm all mixed up. I'm a mutt American. I'm like a Mexican, Spanish, Italian, Scot, Irish, German, French, back alley cat who has no idea where any of his DNA came from. It came from everywhere. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, I proved to you that in reality, through DNA checking, we're all second cousins in this world. We're all related. Every single one of us, if you go back far enough, are related. Stop with this, I'm Chinese American. What? Stop it. Just stop it. Anyway, so Asians, 3.4% between 2014 and 2015 have come to our country. That's 21 million. Now, when you look at the Latino or Hispanic population, you look at that in the same time span between 2014 and 2015, only 2.2% have come to America. Now, there's 56.6 million people of Latino DNA Hispanic bloodline in America today. 56.6 million, according to the last United States Census, with some adjustments over the last few years, because we're going to have another census coming up here in about 4 years. They do it every 10 years. So the Asian folks are outpacing the Mexican and Central Americans and all the other people of Spanish descent, because, really, anybody from Mexico and anybody from Central America and anybody from South America, they can trace their bloodlines to Spain. They're of Spanish descent. Okay, so anybody who says, oh, well, we got to build a wall. Yeah, that's right, we got to build a wall. We're going to build a wall. You're going to build a wall around your nose. That's what you're going to do. Because you're not going to build any wall. Get out of here. Go away. Come on. Forget about it. What's wrong with you? You're not going to build a wall. Oh, you might build a 4-foot wall. That would be kind of cool. Have a 4-foot wall and have some really great graffiti artists, really fantastic muralists paint from the Gulf of Mexico to California, each state's representation on our side of a wall, 4-foot wall. That would be like a tourist attraction. That's actually a pretty good idea, Yeah, I think we should do that. That's kind of cool. We should have like a 4-foot wall. A 4-foot wall would be kind of cool, because then you could say hi to your neighbors over there in Mexico. Hey, how you doing? What's happening? Yeah, want to have a cerveza on the wall? Let's have a cerveza on the wall. We're not going to build no 100-foot wall. Get out of here. Those are the same people that think we should have, African American. We should be Japanese Americans. What's wrong with you people? You're just Americans. All right. Yeah, there's a lot that just drives me insane sometimes. Anyhow. So Americans of African descent, native people that have lived here, like the Alaskan natives, who've been there for 10,000 years. Yeah, 10,000 years, and that's a part of America today. And the American Indian, or the Native Americans, or the natives that lived in the mainland here, all those folks, as well as a whole potpourri of other folks from other parts of the world that have come here, make up the rest of the population in terms of immigration growth. Now, white people, people who say I'm white. Now, they're really not all white, because there's no pure white people. In fact, there's no pure black people. There's no pure Japanese people. There's no pure Norwegian people. There's no pure people anywhere on the planet Earth. Oh, maybe those cats in the Amazon. Those cats in the Amazon that we see sometimes. Maybe those guys are pure. But they probably aren't as pure as we think they are, because they intermingle with the other Amazonian tribes that we don't know about. And maybe the folks back in the New Guinea Islands in New Guinea, way back in those jungles, those thick jungles, maybe there's some folks back there. They actually found people that are like the size of hobbits. They're very small, 4.5 feet, 4 feet, in that, but back in New Guinea. But maybe those people are pure. And maybe the Aborigines. The Aborigines in Australia, maybe they're very pure to some degree. But for the rest of us, we're just a big trash can. We're just a big trash can. Some of us have got some split pea soup. Some of us got some old corn. Some of us got some used up potatoes. Some of us got a Coca-Cola can. Some of us got a beer can. There's a lot of folks that have too many beer cans in them. That's for sure. I see a lot of beer bellies running around California this year in summertime. I swear, I went down to Zuma Beach. And when I went down to Zuma Beach the other day, I thought I was in hog molly heaven. My God, I've never seen so many obese people in my life. It blows me away. What happened to all the skinny people? I don't know. I have no clue. I'm gonna walk across America and look for skinny people. That's gonna be my new trek. How many skinny people are left in America today? The reason why we're so heavy is because we don't exercise as much. We don't get our kids to exercise. The only thing they exercise is their thumbs. The only thing they exercise is their mouth. Eating. They don't go run. They don't wrestle. They don't climb trees. They don't go swimming in a lake. They don't do nothing. They sit around and they get big butt, big butt. That's what happens. They don't exercise. Poor diet structure. Too much sugar and salt. That's what we're eating. GMO food. Yuck. Ugh. Ugh. That's what the problem is in obesity in America. It's not that we're getting heavy. It's just what we're doing is we've allowed ourselves to succumb to the illusion that, it's not even an illusion. You want to know what it is? We've allowed ourselves to be brainwashed that that's how to have fun, especially as a child. We got to get back to exercising. When I was in high school, I was late. I'm going to get back to this census thing in a second. When I was in high school, I was a football player. That's how I got a free college education. I got a scholarship and the whole 9 yards, okay? But in high school, when I was a 10th grader, we had this great coach, Coach Engelman, at Poly High School in Sun Valley, California. So if I'm talking to you, you're over in South Carolina, you're in Georgia, you can Google search where Poly High School in Sun Valley, California is. That's where I went to high school, all right? And so Coach Engelman, this is way back. I mean, this is like back when the Dead Sea was alive. I'm ancient. I'm 465 years old. You just didn't know that. I eat well. All right, I eat organic. Right? You know what organic eating is? Organic eating is like going out to your backyard and putting your head down in the grass like a cow and munching all day long. That's what organic eating is. I'm not going to eat all organic. What do you think I'm going to eat all fruits and vegetables all day long? Oh, no way. I got to have some chicken and fish at least. Now, I don't eat any meat anymore because it's not good for you. Meat stays in your colon, and that's how you get cancer. That's stuff that rots in your colon. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm getting sidetracked here at www.thepowervoices.com. But I'm covering a lot of things. I'm going to get back to the census stuff here in a second. Okay, so, and Coach Engelman, I was late. I was kissing my girlfriend, walking her to the other side of the high school, and playing kissy face. My grandfather used to say, well, you slap and spit with your girlfriend. That's what my grandfather used to say. He was a Scott-Irish, big old Illinois, Pana, Illinois country boy, right? Like Archie Bunker times 1,000. My God, my grandfather was Archie Bunker times 1,000, okay? If you don't know who Archie Bunker is, you got to go check it out, All in the Family. He was like George Jefferson times 1,000. He was like Sanford and Son, Fred Sanford times 1,000. He was all those three guys times 3,000. That was my grandfather. Okay. Darla Patterson, what happened to all the skinny people? One of our great viewers and listeners, Darla Patterson, she said they all got fat. That's right. Hey, that's it. That's it. You solved the whole problem. I love our viewers and I love our listeners because they solve all of my problems. That's right. They all got fat. But anyway, so I was late to football practice. And oh man. So I ran out there. They'd done the calisthenics and the stretching already. And I was a good football player, right? I was like a starter. And so I kind of run him to try to get lost in the back of the line. Coach Ingram says, Torero, come here. So in those days, you can't do that to. See, we live in too much of a sissyville. We have turned our country into a bunch of raging sissies. That's what we've turned our country into. We just turned into our country into a bunch of people. Oh, don't hurt me with the ball. Oh, you hit the top of my head and called me a name. I got to sue the school for $47 gajillion. Oh, I'm rolling for life. What the hell's going on? I mean, really, bunch of friggin' sissies. Hey, this is thepowervoices.com. You're entering Torero's world really heavy duty today on a Thursday. I'm frustrated beyond belief, and so this is the kind of stuff that goes on in my head 24/7, even when I'm sleeping. All right, so it's a Jesse T show from 5 to 6 Monday through Friday, and right here live at 5 and straight on the point. And I'm straight on the point as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you want to argue with me, hey, let's argue. Chime in. Let us know. 424-227-9461. Go on to facebook.com/Jesse Torero. Go on to YouTube Live via www.thepowervoices.com. Chime in. Let us know. Send an email. Call us up. Throw tomatoes at me. Whatever you want to do. I duck tomatoes pretty fast. But anyhow. Okay. So, I come out to the football field with Coach Engelman, right? He grabs my face mask and he twists my helmet. So now my head is like twisted like a Gumby cartoon, like a cartoon where the head of those cartoon characters goes backwards. Right? My head's all twisted around. And he goes, Torero, where the beep have you been? That's the first thing that would have got him in trouble. Well, actually, twisting my head around would have got him in trouble too. And I said, well, Coach, I was late. I had to go to my locker, get my books, and I got late. He goes, you've been messing with that girl, haven't you? That split tail, right? That split tail eventually became she was my girlfriend. She eventually became my wife. My football coach called my girlfriend a split tail. That would have been number 3. Number 3. Today he would have, oh my God, it would have been insane, right? Just insane, right? He would be like fried today. Okay, he goes, what? Yeah, don't tell me that. Beep. Number 4, second profanity. All right. He said, you know something? Excuses are like elbows and rear ends. But he actually called your rear end something else. Now, I'm not going to say that. But that would have been number 5, right? Number 5, right? Elbows are like, excuses are elbows, right here, and rear ends, right? Like your rear end. Everybody has one. And I don't want to have any more from you. Take a run. And every time you run around the field and come past me, run close. Because I'm going to kick you in your beep every time. So that would have been what, number 6, number 7. He would have been in so much trouble today, Coach Engelman. Love the man. Love the man. Taught me so much. Okay? And sure enough, every time I ran by him, he didn't just tap me in the back with his foot. He kicked his foot so hard up my rear end that my rear end hurt because for 2 hours, all I could do was run around, and I got kicked in the rear end so much that I realized I don't want to get kicked in the rear end anymore. That would have been number 7. See what happened? You know, what happened to our world, man? What happened to the ability to dish out some justice from good people? Anyway, okay, so I have no idea how I got on that story. I just, my brain is insane. I'm losing down the drain. I got membrane problems. Insane in the membrane. Insane. I love that song. Anyhow, back to the census. White people, you gotta start making some more babies. Because you're just not making any babies anymore. Okay? Yeah, that's right. Quit feeding your face and playing games and getting fat. Make some babies, will ya? What's wrong with you? But hey, there are 225 million people that call them white or call themselves Caucasian living in this country. And that's the kind of the reality of it all. You see, folks, we are a country of cousins. We're all cut from the same blood. We're all cut from the same DNA. Every single one of us. So I got it in it with after I got done lecturing her and lecturing him, they looked at me and they thought I was like, you know, I don't know what they thought, but they kind of walked away shaking their head. Okay, so so much for that. All right, so another thing that really bugs me today is we don't honor our veterans enough. We don't honor our veterans enough. We don't honor our veterans enough. You know, we talk about all these things, but we don't honor the men and women who die for us and fight for us. We honor football players. We take basketball players who win some stupid basketball game, shooting a basketball in a hoop. Whoopee-doo. And they get to go to the White House, and they get the big meal and shake the president's hand, and the NFL players and the baseball players. Yeah, oh, and the president comes out to them, and everything happens there. Whoopee-doo. Oh, that's who we get to honor. We get to honor these guys, these multi-millionaire dorks, D-O-R-K. I call them all dorks because, you know, those aren't our heroes. Most of those people they got problems. That's why most of them are dead broke after their careers. They all got entourages. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on stuff. I don't even want to talk about them. Why don't we honor men and women who are willing to put their life down on the line for you and me? Why don't we honor them? Why don't we honor them the right way? We don't. And it's just not right. It's just not right. You know, right now across America, there are veterans. I don't even know the real number, but I was told this. It made me cry. It made me cry last week when I heard this. It made me cry. I just looked at the guy who works in the veterans. He works with vets for Trump. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's vets for Hillary Clinton. It doesn't matter. His whole life is built around working with vets. And he told me something that just blew my mind. He said every single day in this country, and it might be every single hour. You know, no, it's every single hour. Every single hour of every single day, there's a veteran that takes his own life. Huh. And we worry about the Kardashians, and we worry about the reality superstars. There's a veteran that kills himself or herself every single hour of every single day in this country. That is unconscionable. That is beyond evil. That should not happen. And that can't happen. And we have to stop that. We have to stop honoring these yahoos who win NBA games. We have to stop honoring these fellas who win NFL games. We have to stop honoring these MMA fighters and these boxers. We got to start honoring the people that are honorable. That's right. Honorable people who give their lives, their limbs, their hearts, their minds, their blood, their sweat, their guts. They give everything to serve you and protect you. And we let our veterans die every single day. They kill themselves because of post-traumatic syndrome, because they can't deal with it. And all they want is a chance to have your life, ladies and gentlemen. That's all they want. It's just a chance to have your life. That's all. Your life. To have a job. To feel whole again. To feel like I'm somebody. I'm somebody. And how do we treat them? We treat our dogs better than we treat our veterans. Our dogs have a house to live in, don't they? Our dogs have food every day, don't they? Our dogs get a chance to go to the veterinarian. Our dogs get loved and petted. Our dogs have a doggone good life. I don't know if that means anything to you. It means something to me. Yep. What are you going to do today? Probably nothing. Because you haven't done anything anyway, have you? And the ones that have, I honor you. And I respect you. And I appreciate you for everything that you do to help a veteran. 2/3 of our population living in this country today have served in some theater or war. 2/3. 2/3. From youngsters to aged people in their 80s and 90s. If we got together and took care of our people, we wouldn't have a problem, would we? They don't want to hand out. They just want to hand out. They just want to be right. Their families sacrifice. Their loved one, their people, their peoples. Yeah, they sacrifice. We need to do some sacrificing, huh? We got the greatest country in the world. We got the greatest Supreme Court in the world. We've got the most level laws that the planet's ever seen. We've got the most level-headed people. We've got a great society that we live in. We're a melting pot of all worlds and all nations. We better start acting like that again. Otherwise, we're going to be a melting pot of a bunch of dog doo-doo. Okay, let's go to the civics lesson today. Since the Supreme Court did a lot of ruling and I've done a lot of rambling, but I had a lot to say because you're entering my world. It's Jesse T. And I can't help but being me. So, Amendment number 9 is certain rights not denied to the people. All right, I can't see. That's what happens when you start getting older. You just can't see. No matter how you try, you just can't. Certain rights not denied to the people. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. That was proposed September 25th, 1789, and ratified December 15th, 1791. Amendment number 10, states' rights. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. Proposed in 1789 and ratified December 15th, 1791. That's a really important thing to understand, the separation of our federal government and our states. The powers not delegated to the United States of America, the powers not delegated to the United States of America by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Basically what that means is we the people have the right, where the state that we live, to govern our own selves. Our states, who make up we the people, have a right to set laws and rules and regulations and to govern ourselves. We do not and cannot be forced by the federal government to do things that are against what the state wants to do, as long as they're constitutional in terms of what the state wants to do and doesn't have any crime attached to it. So in other words, the state can't take dynamite and go blow up houses because the state wants to do that. Sorry. But the federal government can't dictate to the states how to regulate your driving laws, how to regulate your property laws, how to regulate your civic laws, how to regulate the things that the state needs to do itself. And each state has their own governor and has their own legislature and has their own ability to raise money and invest and buy. Each state is autonomous, and that's states' rights. And that's exactly what they were talking about today on the Supreme Court in terms of federal rights and states' rights. The drunk driving stuff we talked about, the immigration stuff we talked about, these all came by way of state actions. Something happened in that state and gets to the Supreme Court. So we have sovereignty within a sovereign nation. Okay? And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. That's why I like to do a little civics. I'm not an attorney, but I can read and I understand words and I understand civics. That's not being taught today. Now, remember, thepowervoices.com at www.thepowervoices.com. And we're here every Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 on the Jesse T Show. And also at night from 9 to 10, 9 to 9:30. We're doing a nighttime show as well on AVTV Live and the Digital Broadcasting Network. And that's utilizing the Facebook platform. So you can catch us here on Facebook. Also, you can catch us on YouTube Live as we approach the end of the show today and we start to wrap things up. The reason why I talked about so many issues, because as we approach this presidential election, I want to put these seeds in your mind. And I want you to really think about some of the things that I said. You may not believe, you may not agree, but I wanted to stimulate your mind in a way so you can really make a proper decision about whether you're going to vote for Trump or Clinton. Because that's all who we have to pick from. That's it. And one of those two people are going to be the President of the United States of America. And it's up to you and me to help make that choice. This is Jesse T, Jesse Terrero, on www.thepowervoices.com. The Brown Beauty is off duty. See ya.